The firefighters smashed open an iron cabinet, only to reveal skeletal remains dressed in a wedding gown. After examination, the forensic pathologist discovered that the bones had been reassembled by someone, and the left and right radius bones had been placed in the wrong positions. Suddenly, the pathologist heard crows cawing overhead. As scavengers, crows typically search for freshly deceased bodies, which indicated there were other victims at this location. Soon enough, another body was found beneath the rubble. The red high heels on the feet were particularly eye-catching. The forensic examination revealed that the woman in red shoes had been stabbed multiple times, and the marks of metal wire on her wrists proved the victim had been murdered. The absence of smoke residue in her nasal cavity indicated that the woman had died before the fire. The spinal deformity in the bride's skeletal remains suggested the deceased had been hunchbacked in life. The stains on the forehead were the result of contact with copper objects, leading to the conclusion that the deceased had been buried in a bronze coffin during her lifetime. Years later, grave robbers had exhumed the bones from the tomb. The green stick fractures were caused by heavy pressure on the chest. There was a smooth-edged gap in the spine area. The crushed chest, combined with the pierced spine, immediately reminded the pathologist of injuries consistent with witch trial punishment methods. This suggested that the deceased had likely been a witch during her lifetime. After investigation, the police learned that the victim with the red shoes was named Lena, who was the mistress of the house that had been consumed by fire. Lena's only remaining relative was her younger brother, but he showed no grief over his sister's death. This was because his sister had become obsessed with bizarre witchcraft, which had caused numerous arguments between them. 3 months ago, he had tried to persuade his sister to move to the city and sell the country villa, but this idea was met with her opposition. A real estate developer wanted to purchase the land, including Lena's property, but after Lena refused, the entire project had to be temporarily shelved. So the detective summoned the developer. When the police showed him photos of the house, the bald man's expression changed noticeably. He appeared quite fearful of the house. It turned out that in order to acquire the property, the bald man had repeatedly approached Lena to negotiate. However, this constant harassment thoroughly angered Lena, so she drew a symbol on the chimney bricks and cursed him with black candles and a dead cat, causing the man's hair to fall out until he became completely bald overnight. Now he absolutely hated Lena. The pathologist also found a mysterious object within the sternum, though what exactly it was remained unknown for the time being. Through investigation, the detective discovered there was actually a witch coven in the area, and they were holding a waning moon ritual that very evening. The detective decided to observe it that night. There, he indeed saw witches dressed in white robes performing strange dances. After the ceremony ended, the detective spoke with 2 of the witches. From them, he learned that Lena was not a member of the Witch Society. This was because Lena had used witchcraft for profit, and was therefore considered the embodiment of an evil witch. Based on the forensic autopsy report and witch trial records, the detective successfully found information about the woman in the wedding dress. He learned that the woman's name was Si. She had died in 1692, and her grave had been robbed half a year ago. Furthermore, Si was actually a direct descendant of Andy, a member of the witch coven. At this point, Hawkins discovered an amber stone on Si's remains with a strand of hair trapped inside. However,